So, but Minister, please look at page 112 of the same annexure and 113. And if you look at towards the bottom of page 112, these are recommendations. It is recommended. Are we on the same page?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
112.
It is recommended that this investigation be disseminated to all provincial commissioners after completion of comments and signatures. Proper planning and implementation be done, criteria be developed, and just fast forward to page 113.
Mm-hmm.
At paragraph, I think it's 8.10. 8.10. It's the printing is not so clear.
Yeah.
Can you make it 8.10? Current task teams be subjected to an impact analysis by organizational development and strategic management in the province to ensure the feasibility of the existing teams. So, assuming you are correct in your reading and your analysis that this plan, the 2019, both the 2019 and the 2024, which appear to be similar, assuming that your interpretation is correct, that it involves or it means the phasing out of the political killings task team. This still says that the current task teams, which would include the political task team, be subjected to an impact analysis by organizational development and strategic management in the province to ensure the feasibility of the existing teams. In other words, this document is not the final word. This is a recommendation, and an impact analysis and feasibility study must still be done to see whether or to ensure the feasibility of the existing teams. In other words, if it's true that some of these units, like, task teams, like it's been suggested by someone like Mary Dahas to say they run rampant, they abusing state and taxpayers' money, and they're not held accountable, and so on. Once a feasibility study is done and that is determined, and it's justified for that team now to be disbanded, then that can happen. But clearly, we must agree that didn't happen in this case.
Yes, I did earlier on explain, as I'm doing now, that a year after the establishment of the National Political Task Team, they then started the process. This was the beginning of the process. They were analyzing what's happening at that time. And they were building a study that would be approved at a later stage. They were in the early stages, in other words, but already a year later, after the establishment, they were busy at work, but not yet having successfully created these structures. That's the thing. The specialist units were being established, they were being fused in, and so on. So these were early stages, Senior Counsel. It was going to be some time before you could say, we now no longer need the political killings task team. This was not the time. It was merely a recognition, a concept. But they had already begun to say, you need specialized teams or specialized units. So, and they were beginning to envisage how it will look like. Now, building on that ourselves, because this thing got approved, it could have been implemented even long before we arrived. And so we say, let's review the structure to suit the imperatives of the 7th administration.
So is your, sorry to cut you, Mr. But are you saying that this was already approved by the time you assumed the position of Minister of Police, but there was a failure or
implementation was slow.
Implemented
was slow. It had not reached the level where you could then do away or disband the National Political Killings Task Team. That's why they extended its life up to 2022 via motivations, via presentations, and then the National Commissioner and the Minister sign that we extend the existence of the National Political Task Team, which will then extend or provide finance or funding. So these two things needed to go parallel together in order to meet the obligations of the PFMA, so that you don't fund a structure outside the organogram perpetually without accounting properly for it in terms of the objective for which it was created right from 2018. And you needed to act responsibly now and say, by the way, what are the imperatives of the new administration? What do we have? What do we need to improve? What do we need to change? Which has happened. And in our discussions, we find that some of these things that we're discussing had already happened in terms of decision and thinking. Let me make an example. The ORS, the Operations and Response Service, we were told it once existed at some point, but then they did away with it. They said, no, we no longer need the Operations and Response Team. So where is it now? All these units, Task Force, Task Unit, National Intervention Unit, RTI, and POP, where are they? They are under VISPOL. And VISPOL takes 53% of the budget of SAPS, but it is one branch under one divisional commissioner. Operationally, it's impossible. You have your border there, you have, it's impossible for one divisional commissioner to be able to take effective command of all these units, yet they are there. They are a potential capacity for SAPS to combat crime, including those crimes that are being performed by or done by hardened criminals and cartels. And cartels, criminal cartels and
Gospel must catch Matlana.
Pardon?
Now you say, you're suggesting VISPOL, they take up 53% of the budget?
Yes, they take, VISPOL alone, take 53% of the total budget of SAPS. And yet it's just under one divisional commissioner. Now, that one divisional commissioner can't be responsible for policing in police stations to make sure that they have cars, they have systems of policing in each police station, and they are performing their job, and then still run with all these task teams, all of them. It's impossible. Keep them oiled, deploy them as and when it is necessary. So you go to Gauteng and they complain to you, your Minister of Police, you run there after 5 people have been murdered. You go there, you say, I'm here to see what has happened, but it has already happened. And then from there, they call you in the Eastern Cape, they say there are matters in Lusikisiki. You run there. And so you end up, you don't have something sustainable that runs the country in terms of combative capacity on a sustainable and ongoing basis. So when 6 shots get released for 5 nights in the Cape Flats, where are we? In terms of rushing where the bullet has been released. and dealing with the culprits there. Where are we? We come in the morning in the form of a uniform. Even if I fly from Pretoria or from wherever, we gather there, I get accompanied by many police. But what is the results? I go out, I go away. As soon as these criminals see Minister is gone with this group of police and so on, they start from where they ended, because nobody deals with them to a point where you get to know who is doing this and what do we do with them. It doesn't get to that point until it happens, and then we investigate. At one point, I held a meeting, a virtual meeting with the National Commissioner for an hour. I counted. It was 1 hour, the two of us, virtual. And I say, National Commissioner, I can't tolerate what is happening in the Western Cape on an ongoing basis. I'm now quite a number of months into the portfolio, and I'm not going to be able to answer in 12 months what is it that I've done in that particular period. Please, let's do this. Deploy intelligence, crime intelligence to the Western Cape. I want names of people who are killing people in the Western Cape. I want name and surname through intelligence services. Go and do it. After you gather all the necessary information, then you can deploy specialized forces, sub-specialized teams. They now have the name, they know where and so on and how, both on drugs and others. Because crime has a name and a surname. Each committed crime in South Africa has a name and surname. You've got to trace this name and surname to prove that you are working, you are there as police to protect life and limb in the country. If you don't do that, you are generally around with uniform until you point to a particular criminal who fired a shot that killed someone.
Well, that's what Lieutenant General Mkonazi and his project leader, General Kumalo, that's what they say they did quite successfully. Each crime has a name. They got the names, they made arrests, they got prosecutions, they're working in a multidisciplinary team, and it's a rapid response. All these problems that you've highlighted with the situation where we respond too late,
yes,
we never respond. They're able to respond because they specialized, and they've been doing it since 2018. They say successfully.
I respond as follows. They have become a factor in reducing political killings in KZN. I'm saying a factor, not that they single-handed have brought down the killings in KZN. I'm making that point. I acknowledge that they've done work, but they are not the only factor. If you look at other factors. But you're talking about a team of 68 people as far as, or 100 and something, because when we last spoke with General Masimula, we're talking about reducing them to 68 as we're phasing out. Now, supposing they are 130 or something like that, they are operating from KZN. And at some point, for some reason, you deploy 10 in Gauteng. You don't deploy anyone in the Western Cape. It can't work. Let's apply common sense, you and I.
Yeah, and you may have a point. They draw from different stations across the country.
And they're not replaced.
Some of the best or better.
It won't work. What will work?
And they also have a rotation. They also work on a rotational basis. So
they are not budgeted for. They are not budgeted for by national. They pick up money. I don't know where they pick up money from. When that 20 million that was allocated, even if National Commissioner signs and say, I approve the new budget up to 2026, I would say, as minister, I don't agree with you. Not because I am just itchy to disband the national political, it's because the bulk of people who are being murdered in South Africa are not the ones that are being dealt with by the National Political Killings Task Team. And that's a fact. It's not theory. It's not what I like. It is a fact. I've recently said the studies released last year by the Global Initiative tells you 34% of murders in South Africa are done in organized crime, in that category. 34, no, it's 35 there, 34 are in taxi violence. And then 24 is political killings, and 7 is personal, where you just go on a mission of your own and say, I want to go and murder so and so. Now, when you allocate the resources, where do you put that figure, those figures? When you say to the nation, I have the National Political Killings Task Team that is dealing with all these matters in these categories throughout the country that I'm talking, are you speaking the truth? You are lying. You are lying to the nation. No matter how eloquent you put it, no matter how you look like in the face, it just is not reality that we're dealing with. You are just talking. Even if they clap hands for you, you are not dealing with reality. That's what I'm talking about here. Now, you are minister of, you are given a job, minister of police. What do? You've got to run the country, not KZN. You've got to reduce crime. You've got to reduce murders. You've got to reduce proliferation of arms throughout. You can't deal with it with one temporal task team based in KZN. You will never do it. No matter how you claim, no matter how many times you go to TV, you will never do it. You'll never do it. That's my argument.
No, I hear your argument loud and clear, and I'm sure so is everybody in the room and in the country listening to what you're saying.
Just if I could add, part of your responsibility when you're given a job is to dedicate your thinking and focus. Use the chair that you are given in the office and the whole office space to think properly and to think reality, and not to come with sophisticated creations of your own and address people and say, I'm dealing with crime. And you leave people crying in reality, meaning you are lying.
Now, Minister, all that you said may make a lot of sense to a lot of people. But what I want to understand, and all of us want to understand, when did you get into a room with your National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, who started this political killings task team, and Khumalo, who's the project leader of the task team? When did you get into a room with them to have this kind of discussion or debate? Now, to some of us, maybe all of us, I'm not sure, it may sound very persuasive that, why have a dedicated political killings task team when we have murders taking place? There's taxi violence killings, there's gang wars on the Cape Flats, much higher, and there's this team, and so much money is being spent on this elite task team. It is not right. It is not fair. You should also look and spread your resources to deal with other killings.
Okay.
And then by way of a discussion and a persuasion, or maybe even a direction, you can say no. Because now they come with their counter arguments as to why the team should continue to exist. And you say, I hear you, but I don't buy your argument, and I'm now going to make the following decision. Can we agree that didn't happen?
No, I agree that I should get space to respond to your question.
Yeah, I'm asking.
All right. Now, when the president decided to intervene in KZN in the form of establishing this, he didn't call General Masimula, General Mkhwanazi, and General Kumar to talk to them. He didn't. So let me start afresh to satisfy myself that you are focusing as I'm responding to you. When the president flew to KZN to respond to what was happening, he didn't call General Masimula, General Mkhwanazi, and General Kumar to confide with them somewhere. He didn't. He addressed the nation. He said, to address what appears to be a crisis, when I am there as President of the Republic, I'm intervening. I am establishing a mechanism to deal with the problem that I see. It's going to take the form of an interministerial committee who will sit and discuss further the mechanism that I am telling them to design. Those are the people he sat with, and it's important to do so, to note that. And that team of ministers didn't call just General Masimula, General Mkhwanazi, and General Kumar. Because in the first place, the political killing task team was not there. So they called the team of people, they called DGs actually, and they called General Mkhwanazi because they were talking in KZN. So a collective of people. They said, look, we're tasked, we're an IMC, we're tasked to do 1, 2, 3, and so on. Let's talk on an ongoing basis. Come and present to us what we are briefing you about as our mandate. Then they went to craft whatever they crafted, and it got briefed. They got the briefing back, and then it was endorsed. That briefing resulted into a steering committee and an operational plan, or as an operational plan as part of. So when I come here and I'm asked that question, why didn't I call those 3 individuals? I respond in the way that I'm responding. But my response also includes that all the things that I've spoken to you, Senior Counsel Chair, up to now, happened in their presence. All of them. Because they are part and parcel. The work study, the implementation, the extensions, and when extensions didn't take place, but funding continued, they were there, all of them, and so on. Now, I look at the thing.
Sorry, it happened in their presence, you say, but you weren't there at the time.
Pardon?
You weren't there at the time. The work study and all that. You weren't the minister at the time.
No, I wasn't there. There was a minister, though.
There was a minister, and that minister tells us, and will come and tell this honourable committee, that the task team was in operation, and by the time he left office, and as recently as I think it was March 2024, he held his last media briefing.
2023.
The last March 2024, the last interministerial committee briefing was held in March 2024. And as usual, he says, you know, your comrade, he did the presentation and the task team was still very much in place, and he was happy with the work that they were doing. That was in March 2024. You were appointed on 30th of June 2024.
Yes.
So he doesn't seem to share your understanding that the task team was phased out or was to be phased out, or as you contend that since 2022, the task team was operating unlawfully.
Now, let me take this opportunity to outline reasons why we disbanded the task team. In fact, why I issued a letter of directives, the 3 directives, so that we don't take one aspect. For instance, I would respond to you that my predecessor can't be part of what I mean, you can't say he will come and say he is not happy, as if it is his duty to do so. Now, it's not. I'm here now taking you through the reasons. Could I go ahead, Senior Counsel?
Just hold a moment, Senior Counsel. Honorable Malema.
Sorry, Honorable Chair.
Hold.
Sorry.
Let me start. The first reason.
I have recognized an honorable member.
Thank you, Chair. I think the question was not answered about whether did you meet Honorable Masemola, General Masemola,
Oh, yes.
Khumalo, and Mkhwanazi. Not whether when it was formed, the president met them. That was not the question. The question was, did you meet General Masemola before we go to issuing of a letter? I think there we didn't get the answer there.
Now, I'll accept that and then respond by saying the meeting on the 1st of November, where I made remarks or statements of a policy nature. I don't know whether that has since been supplied to all of you. Those minutes, you will see who was there. And you will see which, the minutes of 1 November 2024. Yeah, the distribution may not have taken place, but it's
Minister, sorry, if just to refer the Honourable Chair and Honourable Members to the relevant volume, that's Exhibit Bundle 4, and it's at pages 163 to 177.
So could I go ahead? It was a meeting that was called to discuss the organizational structure. Now, I made remarks on page 3 of 15. The people who were present was Minister of Police, and I welcome Deputy Ministers, National Commissioner, General Masemola, and all other people who are present. Now, it doesn't say who else was present, but maybe if we get information, my understanding is that we were with provincial commissioners as well, not just General Mkhwanazi alone. So I make remarks there. The minister further indicated there was even labor there.
Which page you reading from?
I read from page 3 of 15. The minister further indicated that there must be reconsideration and review of certain capabilities, such as political killings task team, which are primarily about addressing serious crimes. He stated that subs should guard against creating structures, units based on specific category, while these duplicate the existing capabilities, e.g. taxi killings, political killing, all being about murders. This is what I said in the presence of management. Now, further down in the same page, you will see what General Masimula said. General Masimula indicated that the matter of the provincial commissioners was resolved some time ago, which was under discussion. He goes on and talk about. So he further stated that in terms of the inspectorate, in principle, management agreed that there's a need to do away with it. That's the first unit that we dissolved. And it's not and this is a unit. It was not even the task team. It's a unit in the organogram. However, there are difficulties with doing away with the unit right away. We acknowledge and accepted that. He gave example of affordability and so on. He further explained that a political killing capability that is in place was in a form of a task team and not a fixed unit established. So these were elaborate statements that were made in that meeting of a policy nature, and they were present. That's my response. But there is another meeting that we held. I think it was on the 22nd. It's just that we couldn't find minutes. It is called policy statements that I made together with the National Commissioner. He made in one of these meetings. Yeah, the Minister directed that the presentation should have a narrative in relation to the, so I'm making reference to that to respond to the question. But I never met the three of them to say, General Masimula, General Mkhwanazi, General Khumalo, come, let's have a discussion. But let me then go to the reasons so that you will see that there were ongoing discussions on various aspects, and there are certain things that precipitated the decision to disband.
Before you proceed, Minister, are you satisfied, Honorable Member? Honorable Ngola?
No, thanks, Chair. Just to check that the minutes the witness is referring to is bundle 4, page 164. And if the witness has actually noticed that the minutes are not signed. Just that, Chair. Thank you.
The minutes for which meeting?
The 1st of November, 2024.
From which he just read now.
Yes.
Yeah, but the question was whether there was a meeting with the three, and the answer is no.
Yes, Chair, I understand that part, but I'm saying if the minister noticed that they are not signed, so it actually touches on the authenticity and the credibility of the minutes. I was just raising that, Chair. It's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Then let me start with the reasons. So the first reason.
And have you
Excuse me,
on senior counsel?
Minister, just that part, it's part of this follow-up meeting of the 1st of November.
Nothing. Sure, I would do honestly.